Okay, so I'm in the town of 29 Palms and literally drove 120 miles between here and Parker with basically nothing out there. So I didn't know you could get in places this desolate outside of Alaska. Anyway, I'm headed to the Joshua Tree National Park. Here's the sign for the entrance or whatever, which is pretty neat. Purple cactus, how about that? Well, I'm in Joshua Tree National Park now. Not a lot of people here at all. This in front of me is a Joshua tree, and I always kind of wondered where it got its name. It's been named a lot of things, but the name that stuck was Joshua Tree, and it came from the Mormons. They were some of the early people, or at least Europeans, to see these, what they call a tree, I'd call it a cactus, and they have, you know, outstretched arms stretched out to the sky, and it says that reminded them of Joshua from the Bible as he was leading the Israelites, and so they named it the Joshua tree, and it stuck. Anyway, this gives you a good idea. I'll do a 360 in a second. This gives you a good idea of what Joshua Tree National Park is. I mean, it's basically the same thing I've been driving on for the last 120 miles, except there are these cactus trees, Joshua trees, all over the place. Now, I drove through Joshua Tree National Forest, last year, and I think I did it a few years before that. I was driving from Phoenix to Vegas, and you go across the Hoover Dam, and you see Lake Mead and all that, but in between there is the Joshua Tree National Forest, and I mean, it is thick in some sections with these Joshua trees. And so I expect to see that inside the park. At least what I saw said that this is the southern edge of the Joshua trees, and that they basically, the Joshua trees are basically contained in the Mojave Desert or whatever. But anyway, really cool and interesting tree, and the landscape's beautiful. So anyway, I'll shoot some more as we get on through the day. I expect it's going to look a lot like this. So there's been a bunch of these lizards out here. I thought I'd just give you a quick look. Obviously appear harmless. The good news is I haven't seen a single snake. I've seen a lot of those lizards. You can't tell on the video, but I've been descending out of the mountains for 15-20 minutes, something like that, a pretty rapid rate. And if you can see down there, that's the plains, I'll call it, in between the mountain ranges. Anyway, I stopped here because there's all these yellow cactus, and there's just like a whole field of them, and I thought they were pretty, so we'll take a close-up look at one of them. I call that yellow. Maybe somebody else would call it green or something like that, but anyway, this is a pretty cool place. Got a little cactus garden. Wow. It was one of those things on the ground, and I stuck my foot on it, and it immediately attached itself to my shoe. Anyway, really pretty place. I'm going to do another 360 real quick and actually real slow so that it's not dizzying on the video. I found out the name of that cactus that I was looking at earlier was the cholla. C-H-O-L-L-A cactus, and that apparently the spines are very sharp, very painful, and very hard to get out. Anyway, this is a different kind of cactus, Ocatilla, O-C-O-T-I-L-L-A, and unfortunately there's a dead one, but they're calling this the Ocatilla patch. So there's the plant itself, and it doesn't have nearly as many thorns or spines on it as that cholla did, but it's got plenty. This thing's what, 15 feet, 18 feet tall, something like that. I don't know that you can see them out there, but there's, you know, there's quite a few of them out there, not just tons and tons and tons, but what a few. Okay, this is Skull Rock, and you can pretty easily see the skull there. And lots of people want to get their picture made in front of it. This is a pretty cool place. I mean, there's some other formations, and I'll get up there a little bit closer, where you could call skulls too. I'm spinning around doing my standard 360 here, so you get a lay of the land. By the way, the traffic is picked up for sure. And back to Skull Rock. Here's that rock, maybe you could see in the distance with the hole in it a second ago, and there's a relatively easy path to it through this crack. Took me a second to find this crack. Anyway, I'm going to go up, bend over, so I'm going to climb up there as close as I can. Yeah, I'm just a hair closer, and there's the through the hole look. Again, some pretty neat formations and whatnot up there. I'm sure if you wanted to, you can name all this stuff something. There's a heart rock, and there's a whale coming out of the water. And there's somebody with giving the thumbs up, backside of their hand. So it wouldn't take long to dream up the names of a bunch of this stuff. Okay, here's a close-up side view of that hole. I was trying to climb up to that rock right there. Probably could have from the other side, but a little risky, so decided not to. But I can give you a quick 360. One of the cool things about this national park is that they haven't had too many rules. So, I mean, there's people just wandering around all over on these rocks. You see a guy back there climbing and doing this and that. It's fun. You got cool views, and it's been good. So this area is called the Hall of Horrors, and I think it's just because, you know, you're kind of surrounded by Joshua trees, got the rocks in the background or whatever. Anyway, the number of Joshua trees is getting higher and higher and higher and higher, and I think about 20 miles from here is the area that they call Joshua Tree proper. So I think we're going to get to a spot where there's really a bunch of them. Anyway, I figured I'd pull over here and see what the Hall of Horrors was all about. Okay, so it looks like part of the reason they call this the Hall of Horrors is that you've got these, you know, strange setups, like, you know, that big rock is perched up. I don't think it was washed away. It looks like it fell there or something. Anyway, I'm going to try to climb up there real quick, and I think there's some other things like this, and that's why they call it Hall of Horrors. Okay, so I'm up on top of the rock. that I was taking the picture of through the hole just a second ago. I mean, I'm 30 feet off the ground, probably pretty easy to climb up here, but anyway, some pretty cool rock formations. And again, hopefully you can see that there's just Joshua trees as far as you can see. By the way, I did see some of the bigger ones at the bottom. It turns into bark. So the bigger the tree, after they get to a certain size, the bottom of it becomes bark. So anyway, I'll try to take a picture of that in a second. By the way, they make a big deal out of saying this isn't a cactus, and now I get why, because it looks like a cactus at the top. You go down a little bit more, still looks like a cactus, but as they mature and you get down to the bottom, that's just regular old tree bark. So anyway, enough of hollow wars. Okay, that row of trees are obviously not Joshua trees. Those are palm trees. So it turned out that those signs that I was seeing for Joshua tree were not what I suspected, which was a conglomeration of Joshua trees, but rather the town of Joshua Tree, which had Joshua trees in it. But anyway, so I basically videoed everything there was that was important to video in Joshua Tree National Park. But I had the opportunity. I'm now in Palm Desert. So it's next to Palm Springs and Indian Wells in Southern California. And I found on Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives website, Gastro Grind Burgers. And I just went in there and ate, and it was absolutely fabulous. I'm not even that huge of a hamburger fan, but man, it was really, really good, and their sides were great and whatnot. So anyhow, there's Palm Desert, by the way, is really a pretty town, and so is Indian Wells. So anyway, we're going to call this the end of day 14 of the 50th anniversary of the 74 Cutlass cross-country adventure and Odyssey. See you tomorrow.